We talked yesterday about how to optimize insulin levels, to optimize body composition, to keep blood sugar levels low throughout the day. To eat in a short window of time is typically a good idea. How insulin spikes 30 to 60 minutes after a meal, 2 hours later, kind of tapers off, goes back to pre-meal levels. And so we don't want to be eating throughout the entire day and spiking insulin. We would like to be in fat burning mode, not cholesterol synthesis mode or producing cholesterol. We like to be breaking down cholesterol. We like to be breaking down fat for most of the day. And so we want that insulin low, right? But is it this simple in terms of just looking at insulin, in terms of optimizing body composition and health? Well, no, but it is some part of it. So today we're going to talk about how to optimize body composition and health in terms of not just insulin, but in terms of some other effects of frequent eating and circadian rhythm and its effects on metabolism. Now, when we talk about intermittent fasting or time-restricted feeding, where you're eating just for a small window of time throughout the day and you're fasting for a long period of time, this seems like something that's evolutionarily natural, as our ancestors would go out in the morning, maybe they would hunt, maybe they would gather, they'd find something, they'd kill that deer, they'd go eat a lot at once, right? And then they might go, hours, they'd be full and they wouldn't eat, and then the next day maybe they go do it all again, right? Maybe sometimes not. They had some food reserves. Sometimes they didn't find anything that day. They had to fast for a few days. And so the point is, it seems natural. And some benefits of fasting are improved insulin sensitivity, right? We have lower insulin because we're not eating. We don't have sugar in the blood, and so it's not triggering the release of insulin from the beta cells and the islets of Langerhans of the pancreas, regardless of where it comes from, but not triggering the release of insulin hormone. And so we're not in a fat storage mode, right? We're in fat burning mode. It begins in preliminary stages after about 12 hours of fasting, but really vamps up at 18 to 24 hours into a fast. Does ketosis and fat burning mode. Reduces inflammation in the body. Does intermittent fasting or time-restricted feeding. It boosts testosterone and growth hormone and brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Fertilizer for your brain, more brain cells. Woo! That's great. We'd love that, right? And also promotes autophagy, or self-eating in Latin. So it eats away dysfunctional neurons and mitochondria, energy powerhouses of cells that are no longer functioning well, replaces them with new, more functional ones. That's at least from 24 hours of fasting onwards. That may not apply if it's just, time-restricted feeding within one day as much so. But we know, regardless of all of that it seems like a good idea to fast. We don't want to consistently be eating throughout the day and spiking insulin, and we're not in fat-burning mode at all, right? This comes with a few caveats. Eating consistently throughout the day. If you ate small meals, would spike insulin less, this is insulin coming up and down, would spike insulin less so than eating 3 big meals. And so eating smaller meals bodes well for improving insulin sensitivity. How sensitive our insulin is to blood sugar. How well we can control it over time. We want good insulin sensitivity to avoid things like type 2 diabetes, right? Later. And so that's a good thing, is that if we had these small meals, that we're not spiking insulin after each meal. Okay, I get that much. Now also, if you look at eating frequent meals and its effect on the gut and the brain, well, eating frequent meals triggers cells in your gut to release signals that trigger the hypothalamus, this part of your brain that regulates homeostasis and hormone production. Typically has a bunch of nuclei in it, nucleuses that will make precursors to them and whatnot. But it regulates homeostasis, regulates hormones, right? And so when we eat frequently, it triggers the gut to release certain signals that tell the hypothalamus to have a beneficial effect in regulating hormones, right? And in regulating how we digest the food and the nutrient absorption. Okay, so we have some benefits now to eating frequently, and we also have some benefits a lot to fasting. Okay, so that's what we got so far here. Now, if you eat earlier in the day, you're at a lower risk for heart disease. Okay. Now, diurnal rhythm, or your circadian rhythm, also affects things like thermogenesis and how we break the production of energy in the body and the thermic effects from food. How much energy we're going to expend breaking down food, what kind what kind of efficiency we're going to have when we're breaking down the food. And so it's not so simple. Now the time of the day matters. If you eat earlier in the day, well, they say that's better for heart health. It lowers your risk for cardiovascular disease, on average at least, right? We also want to eat during the daytime. We want to cater to the sleep-wake cycle. We want to naturally be eating when it's lighter out, right? Eating when it's darker out isn't evolutionarily as natural of a thing for our bodies. This kind of came when, in society we discovered ways to make light after dark, and it became a social thing to have dinner, right? And so it's good not to eat close to bed for optimizing body composition and health, typically. And if you have something with casein protein. It's slow absorbing, right? So you absorb it slowly throughout the night. That's cottage cheese would be a good example there, right? And so I believe, dairy products are high in casein too. But so, in simple, right? If we know all that, and we know the fact that, okay, that's not even talking about exactly what types of food we're eating, right? So this is the last piece of our puzzle here. So what types of food we're eating. Now, if we're eating high amounts of fats, well, that's going to trigger cholesterol removal from the body, and it's going to put a halt or stop cholesterol synthesis in the body. So we're not going to be producing cholesterol if we're eating the fats. If you're eating a lot of sugar, you are producing cholesterol. So we prefer to eat a lot of healthy fats, right? Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, tuna, herring, sardines, anchovies. We'd like to eat some things like extra virgin olive oil, avocados, nuts and seeds. All this stuff is great, full of healthy fats, right? Fats, you want to eat fat. Don't be afraid to eat that steak. Grass-fed beef, right? Organic, leaner would be better, typically. And so, if we know that we want to eat a lot of healthy fats, well, we also know that we want to eat a lot of protein. Protein's the number one fat-burning thing that exists. It leaves you feeling fuller than eating other things, right? It's something that increases your thermogenesis, or it has a higher thermic effect from food, meaning it takes more energy just to digest it, right? And it leaves you with a higher resting metabolic rate, a metabolic demand all the time. If you're eating more protein, you're building more lean muscle, you have higher metabolic demand. So we would like a lot of protein. We would like a lot of healthy fats. Of the fiber we eat, now let's kind of tie gut health in here. Right? So we don't really talk as much about gut health. I'm talking about the effect of frequent eating on the gut, But gut health, we need a lot of soluble fiber, right? So that's fruits and vegetables. Okay, but those have carbs. Yes, but they don't spike insulin quite as much. Now, just the juice from them might, especially fruits, right? Sweet fruits. Big difference between, having a bunch of blueberry juice. Blueberries are great. Or having blueberries, right? And we talk about this all the time here at One Well. Apple juice or apples. You're getting the fiber with it. It's slowing when you eat the whole fruit. If you're getting the fiber with it, it's slowing the absorption of the carbohydrates. Your body can better handle that. That is also improving your insulin function. It's not abusing that mechanism of insulin promoting the absorption of sugar into cells when it's present in the blood. And it's not a good thing when we spike the blood sugar. So we want the fiber, but we don't want to spike the sugar. There's no fiber in juice anyway, so there's nothing to figure out there, right? So unless you have all the pulp you ground up to, right? And different. And so, what do we want? We want to eat a lot of fiber. We also, at least 28 grams or so. Our ancestors were having a lot more than that. Healthy fats, though. We want a lot of protein, body weight in grams. We want to eat earlier in the day. We want to cater to the circadian rhythm. We're eating when it's light out, and preferably, again, earlier. Eating frequent meals can be a good thing if they're small meals. But we want to eat in a short window of time, because there are many benefits to intermittent fasting. So how does all of this come together? You could answer it before I even say. And it's beautiful because you know what? It works. And especially if you make all the food come from nature. You don't eat any processed crap. Nothing with added sugars, no processed crap, refined oils, any refined grains, anything like that. I promise this will have a beneficial effect on your body health, on your body composition, and your overall health if you try this. You're going to eat, you're going to intermittent fast, right? This is what I do, what I would do optimally. Now, some days it's tough. I work all day and I have no time to eat in the morning. I wish. I'm not perfect. I wish I did. I wish I could eat everything earlier in the day, right? But I can't sometimes. My schedule's crazy. Could I wake up a little bit earlier? Maybe I could, and I could do that, right? So everybody could be better, of course. But if you can, you'd like to eat, you'd like to fast, okay? Now we said that fat burning vamps up really at 18 hours, right? And so we would love to hit that 18-hour mark. You're also producing more brain-derived neurotrophic factor and your insulin sensitivity to a greater degree. That insulin's been lower for a longer period of time than you are had you eaten at, say, 14 hours or 16 even. 16 is still good. But it's safe. Why do I say 18? It's some magic number. That is, now work your way up to that. You could start at 16 and you could, over the course of weeks, add 30 minutes a day or whatever. We've talked about that at One Wellness here too. We talked about fasting a bunch of times. But get yourself to that 18-hour mark, all right? You're at that 18-hour mark of fasting, and that is a mark that's also healthy for premenopausal women. If they don't want to go past, if you're a woman in your fertility, you're a fertile woman in reproductive years, you don't want to go past 18 hours. It could have negative effects on hormone production, could cause infertility, it could cause just a lot of stuff you don't want to be dealing with, right? Irregular periods, and so, 18 hours where you should pretty much cap it. That's what I recommend for all women, at least that are not post-menopausal. It doesn't really matter as much for them. But premenopausal, in reproductive years, you would like to be capping it at 18. But it's also great for guys to get 18. So let's say, bam, okay, first part of our equation, we're fasting for 18 hours. Got it. Haven't eaten in 18 hours, I wake up. Okay, now I'm going to go however many hours it takes me to get 18, but I want to eat earlier in the day. So I get a few hours, then I'm going to start eating early in the day. Okay, you're going to eat frequently. If you're fasting for 18 hours, you have another 6 hours, right? So that means you have 6 hours to eat. That's a long time. That's a long time to eat. So you're going to, when you start eating, you're going to eat frequently for 6 hours. You're not going to spike your insulin at any of those points. Now, you could fast for a longer period of time. If you're a man, you could go 20. I go 20 hours away. But whatever. This is for like everybody would be good. Okay? 18 hours fasted. You're going to eat frequently. You're going to eat high protein, high healthy fats. And you're going to eat it earlier in the day. You're affecting circadian rhythm positively. You're eating a lot of healthy fats. You're not producing cholesterol in the body. You're breaking down fat. You're removing cholesterol from the body. You're getting high protein. You're supporting fat burning. You're fasting. You're getting all the benefits of fasting. Improved insulin sensitivity, reducing inflammation, more BDNF, growth hormone, testosterone. We sound like a broken record, right? But you're getting that benefit, right? And you're lowering your risk of heart disease by eating in the morning. And so if I were to optimize metabolism, that's what I would do. And I would get about my body weight in grams of protein for the day. But just about everybody on average at the least, right? And so, I shouldn't say at the least, but that's what we should be aiming for if you're trying to optimize body composition and overall health, Protein, people don't realize having higher amounts of protein too, it reduces your risk for all-cause mortality. Look at Mark Hyman. You want to hear from me. He's an MD, Mark Hyman. Look at his pace. He's absolutely brilliant, this guy. And he's a nutrition master. I look up to him and I read a lot of his stuff. But, he was talking about that the other day, right? And it's also important for the strength of your tendons, the strength of your ligaments, for the strength and density of your bones is the protein. And so if you follow all of these simple rules, you can optimize your body composition and your health. So you're going to drink a lot of water too, right? You're going to try to get at least half your body weight in ounces of water a day. And you're pretty much only going to drink water. That's what you're living off of. You're going to get plenty of electrolytes from all the food that you're eating, so citrus fruits, but also it's in poultry, right? And if you're gonna fast like that for a long time, you're also doing something that's great for your brain. We were talking about really just physical benefit, but also overall health. We said we want the brain health, we want the gut health, and that's why we're also having a lot of fiber. Right, we're having fiber. We're not saying I'm going all in keto and high protein and just body composition. Well, you got to remember, your gut bacteria also control your appetite, fat storage, metabolism. They control muscle growth, right? Rates. And so you also got to feed your gut. So it's not so simple as just the fat and protein. Can't forget about the fiber. I recommend everybody pretty much try to hit at least around that 28 gram mark, 20 to 30 grams of fiber a day. Soluble fiber that can feed your gut and have a beneficial effect on your health. So that's what I got for you guys. That was a lot, I know. But if you're going to remember anything, eat a lot of protein and healthy fats and fiber and eat small meals frequently, all in your eating window while intermittent fasting. Eat it all for 6 hours earlier in the day while drinking a lot of water. So I hope that was helpful. You know, if I had no schedule to abide to, I would wake up every day. To be honest, I would work out and then I would start eating. And I would have most of my carbs right after my workout too, but I would eat, and then I would eat frequently for 4 hours, and I would have a lot of protein and a lot of healthy fats, all whole food from nature. Make sure I had a lot of fiber, and it'd be great, So if you have trouble getting a lot of that fiber, by the way, a great thing that you can do is make shakes. Make shakes with frozen vegetables and frozen fruit that you just chop up in there, and just how much frozen spinach, so dense, right? Can you drink in a matter of seconds, right? That would take you so long to sit there and forkful into your mouth, right? So that's it. Who do we got? Hey, what's up? What's up, June? Veronica, hello, my dear, gorgeous lady. Sarnar, are you part of the ingredients? I love it. Mike, how you guys doing today, man? Insta Aaron, Dapper Dalal Mo, Alejandro, it's just Gene. Love Ancho, it's me, bitches. What's up? It's me too. Meg, how you doing? What's going on? Charlie Benaldez, he's an OG out here all the time. Eli, Breton, oh shorty. What's up, bro? How you doing, Owen? Hope you're doing great, brother. Snark Wizard, Litos, Amarasal, VIP, Allie, what's up? Brandon Malone, he's an OG. He's out here all the time. MRT, how you doing? App State, Thomas. Julie, hello from Long Island, New York as well. I'm in St. James. Edwin Eddie Rodriguez, Rhonda, what's up? Hey, gotta get you some more soup, you. That's crazy. Malcolm, what's up, dude? Hassas 89, my man. Jay Bryce, Rodney, hey, thanks for being the first one on. Absol Jag and Mopar Larry. As for now, thank you, Charlie. Appreciate that. That was a good one, right? I really enjoyed that. And Chris Presco, how you doing? That could have been a lot, but I think it was very, applicable for a lot of people to, health and body composition. And it's simple. It's simple, guys. You keep it simple. You hear all this shit about, nutrition and all these lies out there and, the media and all this stuff and being healthy. But that was true, what we talked about today. Art Sandcrafts, PV Joe. As for now. So we got for you folks. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. Not sure where, not sure when, but we'll see you then. Have an amazing night. Thanks a lot and happy Wend Wellness. See you later.